Hello friends, and welcome to Week 8 edition of Steve's Shack. Got a special guest for this episode. As promised, I'm going to just welcome him right in. Justin is here. Let's give him a big round of applause, everybody.
Good evening, gentlemen, or morning as the case may be when you watch this.
Here we go. So, let's see here. Gonna have Justin sitting behind me because I'm so short, as we already talked about in my Rand Shack, where I sit on two pillows because I don't want anybody to know how short I am. Oh, first of all, welcome to the Shack.
Thank you.
It's
great to be here.
As great as advertised.
We'll see after we're done filming.
See, I think you're one of the more forgotten about members of our league. You're kind of the most under the radar guy, I'd say, in the league. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like you're one of the more overlooked owners in the league?
I don't really think about that most weeks. So, I just go out there and try to field the best team that I can any given week, play the waiver wire. If there is a good opportunity to make a trade, I try to make it happen. Jesse and I worked on trying to trade for about 3 weeks straight, and it just never happened because he never wanted to take, he wanted to dish off one of his running backs, but he never wanted to take what I was able to offer him.
Yeah.
And he did not have enough at the quarterback position at that time that I would have been willing to deal Brady away in order to get something.
What went into your thought process on basically Brady for Romo, Beanie Wells, and Victor Cruz trade?
Obviously, at the beginning of the season, he was just absolutely phenomenal, but he's petered off to very good now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, first off, I think the Patriots towards the end of the season are going to be in a position where they're not going to have too much trouble clinching their division, whereas I think the NFC East is going to be absolutely a fight to the end.
Dog fight? Michael Vick in the dog fight?
If you will. Tony Romo is probably up there with Eli Manning as the quarterback who's playing best in that division right now. And down the stretch, especially in the playoffs, I feel like his upside is almost as big as Brady's is, despite the fact that he is definitely not the quarterback at the same level that Brady is. With the franchise tag, there's absolutely no way I would have ever let go of Brady. I would have been willing to sink this season down the toilet in order to keep him on my team for the next 3 or 4 years or however long he continues playing.
Let's talk about your injury situation. You've got, obviously you've had a lot of injuries. Peyton Hillis, Beanie Wells now adding to that list.
Marshawn Lynch. And obviously losing Jamal Charles in week 2 to injured reserve really killed my season at the running back position there, since he was my, first round draft pick, I believe.
So in light of all your injury issues, how would you describe how you've strewn together 4 wins?
Just every single weekend I am making moves on the waiver wire, getting whoever I think might be a strong matchup that week in order to bolster my team to get a victory. Obviously, week 2 with Charles going out with the injury really killed me because I ended up losing to Mike by half a point that week when Charles had scored 1 point.
Yeah.
So if he had even ran one more play, I would have had a good shot at beating Mike that week, but that really killed me. It was ugly, but I have to deal with it, and there's no going back to change it now.
Yeah, kudos to you. You're in a tough division, so I'd say getting those 4 wins, even Jared is capable of good games.
I was very disappointed in Jared last week for losing by a small margin
to Allen.
I was also disappointed in Kevin for the miserable bowl, and he didn't beat Mike.
The miserable?
That's a good turn of phrase. I think I can accept that. The miserable. New feature every week.
Yeah. What's been your crowning achievement? What's your best, your most proud achievement in the league?
Well, we discussed this the night of the draft where you got really drunk and we're talking about how Mike Vick was not going to be great this season and proceeded to draft him in the first round the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But The thing I think I've done best so far is obviously we still had the franchise tag option back then, and when Tom Brady tore his ACL on the first play from scrimmage back in 2009, I believe it was. Anyways, Jared dropped him. I picked him up immediately on the waiver wire. I still am kind of baffled as to why Jared dropped him when we had so much more bench space back then and the franchise tag option, but he's really helped my team ever since then, and obviously allowed me to leverage a good trade this season now that we've finally gotten rid of the franchise tag. So
you're in favor of that? You really like that?
Oh, yes. It really kind of dragged the league down, I feel like. I don't feel that randomizing the draft order was the best option, just because I think we'd see more change year to year if that wasn't randomized so much, because Hedgie would get the first pick every year. His team might be more competitive than it is this year. Obviously he's improved a lot this year from where he's been in years past.
But
he still lays eggs far too often, and he really needs to work on his drafting strategy.
I would agree with that. What's been your low point as a league owner?
The low point, I've never really had a season that I feel was just a lost season. The worst season I've ever had, I think, is 6-8. I'm having a really tough time coming up with a single point, but honestly, my low point was probably losing the championship game last year. It was absolutely terrible.
Okay. Toughest moment was when you lost. Yeah, I could see that. Is there a certain team that you like to see lose?
Honestly, it's got to be Mike's team, just because I view him as being the most competition for the playoff spots in the Red Division. BG made the trade for Aaron Rodgers, which, ultimately Jesse did get something out of that deal, but Aaron Rodgers has just been so good this season that I think Jesse would have been better off if he'd kept him.
Yeah.
So anybody in our division, despite the fact that BG's only one game ahead of us, is going to have a really tough time catching up to BG.
But you don't have anybody you view as like a rival that you really like to see them lose?
Not really, no.
Oh, all right.
Maybe you, but...
Wow. Wow, got the target on my back.
Actually, the person I'd probably like to see lose the most is Tim Tebow. So.
Yeah? I love Tim Tebow. Get out of my house. Go away.